Okay, so this is an AU, I guess, because nothing is going on with dying and stuff like that. Basically, the kids and trolls live on Spurb together and go to school sometimes because they are bored and want to socialize. Please read and review. XO! It was my first day on Spurb and I was confused. My name is Stacia and my first day on Spurb was today. I was only here a couple of hours, so I didn't really know anyone, but I did meet a lot of people, but only for a few seconds. Spurb had a school. It was mandatory to attend on Tuesdays, but the rest was optional. Most of the kids and trolls went, though, because there wasn't much to do. I was in an empty classroom waiting for class to start. No one else was there, but that was awk. I was used to being alone because my parents were both billionaires and left me alone a lot, but I didn't mind too much. Anyway, that was on Earth, and I was in Spurb now. I took out my sketch pad and started to sketch Tom Strider. He was this really dream-o-me guy I met on Spurb with blonde hair, glasses, and red eyes. His body was spectacular. He was 6 feet tall and had great muscle structure. When I met him, he seemed really cool, and I couldn't wait to get to know him. I started to draw him without a shirt, paying incredible attention to the details of his abs. I really hoped I got to see them in the flesh one day. I bet Dave would let me touch them, and he looked like he was probably a good treat kisser and a good listener. Just then I felt a tap on my shoulder. Tom Strider was in front of me. "Oh, hi, Tom," I said with a lovely smile. Tom looked the same as before, except this time he was in much better lighting. His blonde hair glistened. Tom laughed.
"I'm not Tom,"
he laughed. I was confused.
"My name is Dave. I was just messing with you."
He grinned sneakily and his sunglasses twinkled like a sparkle. This hurt me a lot. Tom, or Dave, was my first friend and Spurb, and S started our relationship with a lie. I frowned and looked like I was going to cry. Dave felt bad, so he hugged me.
"I was just being ironic. I am so sorry,"
he said. I let a few tears out and asked him what class is this, and he told me it was Mr. Hussie's class. I also turned the page of my book so he didn't see the picture I drew of him. Dave was hugging me, and I was melting like putty into his arms. His chest was so warm and his hair smelled like watermelons. He asked me, "What are you doing in class this early?" And I said I didn't really know, but when was class starting, and he said soon. I asked him if he wanted to get some food from Grub Sauce Hub, but he frowned.
"I'm sorry if I led you on, Stacia. I'm dating,"
he continued. He fumbled with his cape sadly because this was an awkward situation.
"I am dating Terezi and Jade and John."
I laughed because I thought he was joking, except his sunglasses didn't twinkle.
"Why are you dating so many people?"
I asked. He said it was because of quadrants, which means he can have a lot of boyfriends and girlfriends without being a player. I nodded sadly. Then I asked him about his cape.
"Oh, this wicked awesome cape?"
he said, twirling so I could see how Iz moves when he twirled.
"I got it when I became God tier."
I asked him what that meant, and he was...
"It means I am literally God, and now I have superpowers other than just my rapping."
He snapped his fingers in a way that I knew he was telling the truth, but also kind of joking because he was proud but also humble. I noticed that as he played with his cape, part of his shirt ripped and it revealed his bicep, but only a little. Just as I was about to talk, the bell rang and class started, so all the trolls and people started to walk in. All the trolls and humans were there because it was Tuesday. Everyone except Eridan went to this class, and that was because he was a sea dweller and nobody liked him. I didn't know he wasn't there, though, because I didn't know he existed yet. I looked around and saw John next to Dave. Dave was whispering sweet nothings in John's ear, and John was giggling. This infuriated me. Terezi would probably be mad too, but she couldn't see. My.Hussie came in late. He said he was sorry he was late, but Yo-Oo could tell he wasn't. Mr. Hussie was swaggy, but also scary. He wrote some numbers on the blackboard. The numbers were 413 and 612 and 420 and 69. That made Gamzee giggle loudly, which mock Day Kanaya hit him hard with the 50,003-page textbook. Mr. Hussie was wearing a gold leather suit with a bedazzled horse with rhinestones on the back. His tie was made out of money signs. His lips were very important, and his shoes were just normal teacher shoes, so they were pat ant leather and black. He was holding a yardstick he'd sharpened a lot at the end, so it looked like a deadly weapon. He asked us a lot of math questions, but then Vriska said,
"Yawn! I think it is time to go."
And Mr. Hussie nodded and said,
"Vriska's right. Because Vriska is always right.
He was probably sleeping with Vriska, but I don't know because it was my first day at Spurb. I was really bored in class, so I said thank you to Vriska for ending the glass, and she gave me an evil look.
Don't talk to me,
she said. She gave me the middle finger 8 times.
I am not afraid to cut you, bitch.
I frowned because she was scaring me. She sighed and said,
Welcome to Spurb. I'm going to use your notes from now on.
She walked away shaking her ass. You could just tell she was not a nice person. On my way out, I saw Dave rubbing John's ass, and John was feeling up Dave's bicep. I also saw Vriska sticking her tongue out at me and tripping Tavos when he tried to walk past her. I was not sure I would like it here. I was very, very sad, so I headed to the pool. I sat at the pool edge with a major sigh, and then I realized I saw a troll butt in the water. Coming out of the butt were 2 gray legs. I was shocked because a troll was doing a somersault in the pool. Then he surfaced, revealing an incredible face. His jaw was amazing, and his bones were structured in hunky way. His purple eyes pierced into my soul, and he had a streak in his hair to match. Wow. His swimmer's body was incredible. He was wearing goggles and glasses.
Wow,
I said out loud. Eridan looked at me. He was a very sensitive soul and could tell I was upset.
What's wrong?
He said with a sexy, wavy accent. I told him it didn't matter and that I was glad I got to meet him.
I'm Eridan,
said Eridan.
I'm Stacia,
I said, peering into his eyes with lust that burned. He could tell I wanted him.
Come on in,
he said, a twinkle of mischief in his voice. I opened my catalog and took out a bathing suit. It was a modest one-piece except it had a tie on the front. I drove in the swimming pool and we swam for a few minutes before he cornered me.
So, Stacia,
he said with a smirk.
Are you new here?
I could feel his boner against me and I was not upset about it. Before I knew it, we were making out. His lips felt amazing against my lips. I had never felt so in tune with someone before in all my 16 years. I untied the tie on the front of my suit, revealing my incredible breastises. They were large and round with small areolas and perfect perky nipples. Eridan leaned down to suck them, but just as he did, a voice came out and it was,
Wow, okay.
Eridan jumped out of shock.
Sollux,
he whimpered in fear. Sollux was a boy with a big lisp and lots of pimples. He wore blue and red glasses and jeans with cuffs up to his knees. I didn't see or hear him before because he was concentrating so hard on his laptop.
Sollux,
Eridan shouted.
Who is that?
I asked, and Sollux told me he was Eridan's boyfriend. I was devastated. I ran out of the pool and told Sollux I was sorry, and then I went into the pool to slap Eridan. Then I left the room crying. I felt horrible because A, that was a very slutty thing for me to do, and B, he had a boyfriend and I might have broken them up. This was no way to make new friends on my first day at Spurb. I was crying so hard. I was not upset that they were gay though, because this is 2014 and if you're homophobic, still you need to grow up and get a grip on yourself. Also, I'm possibly bi, so who even cares that they are both boys? I went to my dorm hive and sobbed into my pillow. Then I closed my eyes and was transported to Durst.
End of chapter 1. Subscribe if you like this fic. I promise it will only get better. XOXOXOXOX.